Hi guys, how are you? I hope that you're doing fantastic today. It is actually, you know what's so much fun is that right now it is such a fun dynamic woman. And she's adding on in. Okay, guys. Yay, there's Stephanie right up there. Hi, Jen, how are you? Are you in?
I'm in.
Oh, good. So Stephanie, I just tell you, this is the first time I've done it with the Inspirator Life with the add-in though, with the screen like this, because it was horizontal and now it's vertical. So it's kind of funny to see this shift right now with it up in the corner versus side by side. But I mean, I was so glad that you were able to make it, and you were actually in the midst of working at somebody's house right now, aren't you?
I am, yes. I'm in a client's house right now. So, but yeah, I definitely didn't want to miss this. So
I'm so glad that you're here. So you guys, there's Jen's right here. Jen was actually at Entrepreneur Fest as well. I don't even remember Jen Jones. She was there. And so she just popped on right on down. So for those of you popping on, do me a favor and give us a heart or thumbs up to let us know that you're here, as well as share this with your friends. I know that they're going to get some nuggets of inspiration and motivation within the next 30 minutes, because you can't help but be inspired with what Stephanie is doing, as well as the shifts in her clients' lives for what happened and how she honestly is one of my own inspirators with how she got to her path with her background. So let's get started and make this a fun, efficient lunchtime Inspirator hour for you guys, or not hour, half hour. Stephanie and I met, we know we met before, but we got to see each other again just last month or a month and a half ago now, huh, Stephanie? At Entrepreneur Fest. And once we saw each other, we know each other from somewhere, but we still can't remember where it's from. Did it come to you at all where it's from? I cannot remember for the life of me.
No, I can't figure it out. Like we said, maybe it was just in a past life or something, but as soon as we met, I felt connected. So
yeah, it was so much, but it's so funny because it's racking my brain going, was it through blogging? No. Was it through this? No, I don't know what's through. But regardless, you guys are here right now with Stephanie because she's amazing, and I feel so fortunate to be connected with her because she's just this wonderful gem of a woman who's wanting to make changes in women's lives, and she's wanting to do so by helping their lives get simplified, get more streamlined, and remove that mental clutter that you really don't need. And so part of being an inspirator is what? Living your most inspired life right now and motivated life. Well, you can't be so motivated if you get a whole bunch of stuff going on up here that affects every ounce of where you live. So let me pass it on over to Stephanie, and you can explain who you are, where you live, what you do, and then we'll get going from there.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Erin. So good to chat with you after meeting in Utah. And yeah, so my name is Stephanie Sikora, and I am the founder and owner of Life Made Simple, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a moment. But first and foremost, I am a mom of two beautiful little girls, so 2 and almost 5, which is crazy to think. And yeah, she's gonna be 5 at the end of this month. So we're counting down every day. And she is. And I married to my husband, Mark, for almost 9 years. And we live just outside Denver, Colorado. So we love the Colorado lifestyle. And Erin's gonna come this summer and visit me. And we're gonna Yes. And so Life Made Simple is really about, like you said, it's really helping people to simplify their physical and digital space, which often comes up, and so that to create really effective systems too, because what we've learned is that when our space is cluttered, it creates that mental clutter. And there's actually data and research that they've done that shows how it actually affects our brain. So it triggers that stress response in our brain, and when we're triggering that part of our brain, we're not really showing up as the best version of ourselves. So what I'm really passionate about, because as a mom, I was on this, I know what it's like, and I found I wasn't being fully present. So I really help my clients and these families to create an environment that allows them to be more focused, to be more calm, and just be more present for those important moments in life. So,
which is so important, so important. And that's what we were talking about actually last month, about how important and integral it is for you to be present, to be able to live right now versus continuously looking ahead. Like, oh, I'll do that later. Oh, I'll get organized later. Oh, I'll work on this fitness goal later, versus having this space to be able to do that right now, right?
Absolutely.
And so Erin's on here. She's giving a thumbs up, right? It's so true though. Erin, I'm glad that you did a thumbs up to that, because it's spot on to where that mental clutter just takes over. I was just talking with a client about this actually the other day about how she herself had hired a professional organizer. And I said, oh, that's awesome, because it's going to help our job be that much better too.
Right.
Because of the fact that you're creating the space for you to even focus on your fitness and wellness goals and your professional goals. And you can't do that if you go home every single day and you just feel like bogged down versus lifted up.
Absolutely. And the client I'm with right now, they're not here. They're at work. But I them for months, and I've seen this transformation, and that's what I love, because people think, oh, you're an organizer, like you're going to go in and put a couple bins and labels, although there are some behind me that we did, but really, you know, it's this journey that they're on to really change, like a more intentional living about what's in our space and how our space affects us. And I text my client, I was like, hey, the front entryway looks great. She's like, it feels amazing when I walk into this space. And she's told me how now that we've really simplified and created really good systems in her home, she's like, I have more time. She has 3 little kids. She's like, I have more time in the morning to have breakfast. I'm not rushing around. I'm not screaming at my children, and just really to be more present with them. And I caught myself doing that, like running around like crazy. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not sitting down and spending the time with my kids. And this is like the time to be with them, to really have an impact so that they can grow up and be, you know, those contributing individuals. So I just love seeing the transformation with these families that I work with.
Well, it's so spot on though, and true. Think about like your dining room table, right? So many people joke around their dining room table is where they work, and then they have like the BL, they just throw it on the dining room table. I'm like, that's not allowed in our house, because you walk right into our house and there's the dining room, and I love it. We have a sitting space in the dining room right now. It's decorated with Mackenzie's birthday stuff. I was up last night decorating it for her birthday, but to where there's also a window seat all along that window. When there's clutter on that window, it clutters everybody. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And so I got to be honest, I love the holidays, but I also love when any holiday is over so I can put all that stuff away, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I seem like a Scrooge, because my kids are like, why are you putting it away? I'm like, just got to put it away, you know? And
it's done now.
Yeah,
it's done.
That's why I put less and less out, because I don't like putting it away. So keep it simple.
Exactly. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Yes.
So I have a question for you. So how did you though get into what you're doing right now? Because you shared me the story, but I want you to share it with everybody. Like, how did you get into it?
Yeah. So I was actually in healthcare. So we have a similar background. So I'm an exercise physiologist, and I was in healthcare for 15 years. And one day I walked in and I didn't have a job, and I was like, what am I going to do? And so, but I didn't just fall into this, but I found myself at home.
Yeah, Sarah.
With my kiddos, and all of a sudden, you know, the universe has given me this gift to be home with my kids. I wasn't aware that it was a gift at the time. And I found myself I was just running around constantly trying to take care of the house, but not sitting down and playing with them. Or I'd be like, when you let mom do one more thing, or I just got to finish this cleaning the kitchen, or I got to do this, because I know that's how I'm wired, and I like my space clear. And I know that in order for me to be able to really sit down and be present with my kids, I need the space to be clear. And so I was like, there's got to be an easier way for like my brain to be happy and my children to be happy. And that's when I went on our own journey of really simplifying our space and creating really effective systems, because I did that in the healthcare setting, and I just really applied those similar principles to our home. And so it was this transformation in our own home, and then more and more people just kept inviting me and asking me to, you know, to be in their home and help them with this. And never in a million years did I think I'd be an entrepreneur. You know, I thought I would be in the corporate setting forever because that was secure and safe, you know, or I thought, right?
Yeah. Oh, you thought.
Yeah. So almost a year later, I actually started Life Made Simple about a year ago. So I can't believe it's already been a year, and it's just been the greatest gift. So that's kind of how I got here.
I love it though, because it's so very true. And it's interesting as to how you're going to keep attracting more and more people, because they realize not just the change that you're doing in somebody's house, but how it's transferring their whole lives. And then they have the time to do what they love, because they're not spending all that time on the weekends with, you know, going through their house, trying to find everything, trying to, you know, it's interesting. Jack and I have very different organizing systems, right, as many couples do. And we were just actually going over the title stuff because of Idaho and California. He goes, where's the title papers? Like, you have the title papers. I gave it to you. All of my stuff is in the important documents are the 2 important document folders right at my desk. Every kid organized right through. And where's the title? Where's the title? I'm like, you can find the title. You know where it is. Let's retrace yourself. And because it's just, he doesn't think that same way. I actually would love to have you come here for a month, and maybe you can have us merge systems into place, and that would make things so much easier in my own house. That would be dynamic. But anyhow, to get on with it, it creates more time though to do than what you love, which of course that is one of the most important things, which, as you know, I preach from the mountaintops. Create the space for you to feel amazing doing what you love and do what you love right now versus next week. So a few fun questions for you. With though being an entrepreneur this last year, what are your 3 biggest strengths with being an entrepreneur and owning your own business while having your 2 little ones?
I would say some of the strengths is definitely like execution, that I'm really good if I know what needs to be done. That's why I would say to my coach, I'm like, just tell me what I need to do. You know, my business coach, I'm like, and I can do it. And that's the truth. Like, I like to check things off a list. So if I know it needs to be done, I'll get it done. And so I think that's really helped me, because I don't like, you know, as I like my space a certain way, I also like my list of things, you know, so I don't like open ends. So I just really will finish things off. And so really good at execution. Some people are good visionaries and not good executors. Like, I'm really good at execution. I'd say the other thing is, I'm really passionate about what I do. You know, I always have like before and after photos of the physical space, because people like to see that. But I say, if I could do a photo of the client, of like transformation, because that's what's so important, is that how they, like you said, like they didn't even realize how their space was holding them back from, you know, pursuing a dream or whatever it might be, because it just was affecting them in a way they weren't even aware of. And so I'm like, if I could just illustrate that transformation. So I try to tell it in story, but that's what I'm so passionate about, because I see these families connecting closer, these relationships, husbands and wives coming closer, people having more time for, you know, what's important for them, and the energy really, because they didn't realize how their space is really, you know, zapping their energy or depleting them. So I would think the passion is really, that motivates me too, to execute on what needs to be done to move my business forward. And then lastly, I would think my ability to connect is something, my ability to connect with the client, because that's something, they're very vulnerable when they open up their doors, you know, and I can sense that. And that's the first thing they say often is like, I'm just so embarrassed. But I feel really comfortable with you, they tell me, which is, I mean, that's priceless. I'm so glad.
That's huge.
I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you achieve your goal. So just, you know, try to let that go. And so being able to connect with them really helps to gain that trust quickly, and then help the client to be successful. And so it's to connecting with the client, but also connecting, like what I've been so like amazed with is all the different like amazing women entrepreneurs I've met on this journey, like the ability, you know, to connect with them. I mean, that's been the greatest gift. It's so amazing. I was telling someone the story about how the corporate environment versus like this, you know, solopreneurship, how women are just like open arms. I want to support you. Let's connect with one another has been amazing. So I think it's the ability to execute, being passionate about what I do, and then connecting with others has helped me to get where I am.
That will, in the vulnerability though with clients, and it's funny because you're in fitness and wellness, you're in the corporate side of it, to where that in itself, when somebody comes to you, right, for fitness and wellness, and some of you guys watching right now, Allison, you're a personal trainer, Gwyneth, you're a personal trainer, I don't know if you guys are still on right now, but you know that, to where people are really vulnerable when you're starting to work with them. It's like, oh, I cheated, oh this, oh that, don't judge me, don't judge. The same thing when somebody comes into your house. Think about, by the way, Sarah said, love the conversation. You know me, my friend Sarah Tom is on, and she loves organizing. She is the queen of organizing, and she is a military spouse, so she has to reorganize every few years because they have to move. I mean, she is on top of everything. Yeah. Actually, I moved, I asked her for a few different lists for the kids, but when it comes to though creating that connection and letting people be vulnerable with you without judgment. That is one of the biggest gifts that you can give to anybody, right? Because what do people want? They'll be seen, loved, and heard. Right. That's what everyone wants, to be seen, loved, and heard. And when you first see somebody's space, it almost looks, if it would be a hot mess, right? They might feel that you're judging them prior to getting to know them. Absolutely. And so the fact that you go in with open arms, like, hey, let's just create this magic together. That's such a gift that you're giving to people. Such a gift. And you're used to transforming bodies in some ways, right? With exercise, physiology. Yeah. I think to where now you're transforming their lives in a different way, and to where they can enjoy their bodies more, which is what I do, right? So it's kind of that whole blending of it all. But I love it. I love it so, so much. I need to, as you just shared, is the the connecting with other entrepreneurs, as you said that, I do invite you guys that are watching, please share this with your friends right now, because if you're getting some nuggets from this, they're going to get some nuggets from it too. And Stephanie's got a great gift, and I'd love for you guys all to get to know her. So I'll put the links in how to connect with her in a little bit, but please share this with your friends, share away, because they're going to get something from this about how just various elements about simplifying and also loving the space you're in right now, but making it more magical so you can live that more dynamic life, quite honestly. And so, Sylvia, I have a question for you. When it comes to what you've learned, even with that unexpected break, and I know those unexpected breaks well with your kids, but from my husband's side, but when you love hearing, Sarah said, I love hearing how you formed your business, Stephanie. I'm always encouraged in stories like yours. Oh, yay. Yeah. So right there, you've already inspired Sarah. Good job, Stephanie. Done. But yeah, good job. But when it comes to though transitioning over from what you're doing before into this and having an unexpected window of time with your kids, what would you say now, being an entrepreneur, is one of your biggest loves of the time that you have right now with owning your own time?
Well, I would like to say that, as you probably know, like with an entrepreneur, the work never ends and it's kind of all over. You feel like there's always something you should be doing. And so I love that, I get to drop my kids off and I have the flexibility to be at, whatever program they have or whatever is important in their moment or in their lives at that moment. But I think the biggest challenge with that is setting those boundaries, because there's always something you can be doing to moving your business forward. So there's always something you can be doing. And there's so many people you see, so that there's that comparison. Like you have to set boundaries for yourself with your work, and then set boundaries of I can't just keep comparing myself to those other people. I need to focus on what I'm doing and just stay that path. And so I would say, so there's the perks, and there's also those challenges of being really intentional about that as well.
But even simplifying it down towards just staying in your own lane.
Yeah.
That's the piece to where it's the biggest focus is staying in your own lane. There's the perk of that too, just to knowing that you're genius. The more that you focus on it, the brighter it shines, right? But it's also the tricky part, because when you are in your own lane, it's almost like a teen driver who's like this, where you're kind of what is everybody else doing? Wait a second, I'm inspired a little bit. Wait, should I be doing that too? Wait, hold on. Wait, oh, I need to be up and doing this. Yeah, I mean, to where you're thinking like that versus just staying
everywhere. And you're like, no.
I know, the blinders on, just keeping the blinders on.
Yeah.
So for yourself, how have you transitioned your own health and fitness into owning your own business right now? Because one big aspect of being a successful entrepreneur is really taking care of your own health and fitness too. Because if you don't have the energy and you don't give yourself permission, the energy to take energy to exercise and to nourish yourself well and to sleep and do all those integral elements that you need to be successful, your business grows, but it's hard to be able to grow with it without getting depleted. So for yourself, stay in your lane, Jen? Yeah. So for yourself, what would you say has been your best success tips for you transitioning with this transition for yourself personally? What would be your own ways that you've been able to keep fit and active and strong? Because when we met, you're like, I'm going to work out in the morning, but you need your sleep. Then you worked out later for my early morning boot camps, right? At Entrepreneur Best. But it's also because your house wasn't right by the event. But to where on your regular work week, how do you schedule and map out your own time? And what are your best fitness and wellness tips with doing what you do?
Yeah, for me, I'm a morning person. And so I get up every morning. I try to get up before my kids. And so that usually means about 5 a.m. to get to the gym. And because my husband leaves at 6:30. So that's good. It kind of forces me. I have to get out and get home. And so I'm a big morning person. So my morning routine, so that's, getting some exercise, drinking my water, my journaling, my meditation, which you've been my accountability partner on my meditation. So thank you.
That's awesome.
So getting, if not all those aspects, at least just a few of those pieces in my morning really helps me as far from a physical wellness and a mental wellness to really set the tone for my day. And, with that said, I have to also go to bed really early. And so I try to be to bed by 9, and which is hard as an entrepreneur because my kids are finally asleep. Here's some time to get some work done. But I just don't work at night because it's not good for me. I know I'll pay the price the next day, and I'm not fresh. My mind's just not fresh. And so, although there's an opportunity to get some extra work done there, that's another
work though.
Yeah, I set for myself. So I would say lots of sleep and or getting to bed really early and then just getting up and doing the exercise. And some mornings, maybe it doesn't happen. I don't get one piece of that, the journaling or whatever in. And so just trying to squeeze it in somewhere. So being really compassionate, having some self-compassion. If I didn't hit the gym in the morning, just getting out and taking my kids for a stroll in the afternoon, just doing some kind of activity. And we live on a green belt, which is really helpful because if I didn't work out in the morning and I see everyone, I'm like, I at least have to get out there or jump in place a little bit or something to get my heart rate.
Yeah.
So, but that's always been a real, that just is something I have to do. It's a habit. Someone asked me, they're like, how do you get up in the morning? I'm like, it's just a habit now, and if I don't do it, I just don't feel right during the day. So.
That's awesome. Well, and it is, so it's first thing to where, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you when you were talking earlier, but when you get rocking and rolling the first thing in the morning, it truly sets your tone for the day. And and water. I saw you with your big bottle of water. I know this mug is so huge. When it comes to working with clients and interviews, it's easier with the mug than it is with the water bottle for myself when doing but I learned that the hard way because I had a water bottle that was very loud. And every time I take a sip, it was like, oh my God, sorry. But
so I drink lots of water, but I guess I should use a little cup.
Oh, no. You're in somebody's house. I'm used to this business now. Right. But when it comes to the morning part and the compassion, what you said was be compassionate towards yourself if you don't get it done in the morning. And that's really, really important too. And that's something that I think that some people feel to where it has to be all or nothing.
Right.
You have to do it so perfectly versus doing it perfectly imperfect. And then they just kind of shut themselves down with their health, with their wellness, with their cleaning, with their organizing, with anything like that. They're like, well, I haven't done it perfectly, so might as well just give up.
Yeah.
Which is so silly versus, one little nugget at a time, even, towards like one little piece of the health and fitness wellness wheel is the same thing moving forward. Just like for yourself, when it comes to people's houses, start with one section of a room, then one room, and then, versus the whole kit and caboodle, and then everyone feels overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think overwhelm is key right there. Like most people I work with, they are, they're overwhelmed. Their space is overwhelmed, and I remind them that your brain is being triggered in a way that you are triggered to feel overwhelmed. And so you're in this space, which is overwhelming, and then you're overwhelmed and even getting started. And so that's a big piece of what I do is come in and help them to work through that barrier and have a really clear plan to help them. Because it's like, I don't know where to get started. I don't know how to get started. I want to give up. I don't want to, same thing with exercise and wellness, that I experienced working with clients in that capacity. And that's why I'm actually, Erin, who's on right now, hopefully she's still there, is I have an online course right now. And that's what we're doing is I'm like, just start with one drawer, like apply these principles to one drawer and you will start to build the confidence. So the same thing, like you want to run a 5K, well, let's start by walking around the block. And so just those little nuggets and just break it down and, and build on those accomplishments. So absolutely. It's the same thing as working through that overwhelm and then the self-compassion piece. Okay. You didn't hit it today.
Huge.
Tomorrow's a new day,
Yep. Self-compassion is so big. And I think that that's something, even going back to the entrepreneur part versus being in corporate. And so having worked in corporate fitness as well prior to having my own business, I've had my own business now. It's funny because Mackenzie, as I shared, she's 14 today. And I started it right shy of her first birthday. And I started so I've had my own business for 13 years. So pretty much as long as I've been a mom, I've had my own business. And so I only know it like with juggling kids, quite honestly. Right. Outside of when I was first a personal trainer and going from house to house and in my 20s while I was working in corporate fitness, that's a lot different than a bigger business working with so many clients. But to get on with it, the feeling of overwhelmed for so many is so much, but then the compassionate piece. And so having worked with so many businesswomen, and I love the fact that having been in the entrepreneur world, which you tapped into just a minute ago, saying, going from corporate to then entrepreneurs, working with all these women, they're supportive of each other. And that's what it's like, because when you see somebody else succeed, you cannot help but want to do like jump up as high as you possibly can for them succeeding. Right. Even if they might not have taken the path that you even would do or agree with, but the fact that they've succeeded and they've put themselves out there and they've made some big goals happen and accomplished them, especially even while raising children, holy smokes, you're going, yes, sister, you did it. You're awesome. And you can't help but want to just cheer them on. And I think it's very different than, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, than say a whole bunch of male entrepreneurs together. And there's a big, big difference. that's just my own personal opinion, having been in different entrepreneur circles and seeing the different dynamics. But okay, I have to reference my questions for a really quick bit here, because I want to make sure that I'm respectful of your time. Okay, here's a couple of fun questions. Okay, an inspiration is an inspirator and motivator in one, right? And so my middle daughter Emerson came up with that name when I was pregnant with Finlay, and I was 7.5 months pregnant, and she was doing circus in the backyard and just practicing some stuff, for my boot camp the next morning. She's on her bicycle, just a little trike or whatever, riding around the backyard. And she's 5.5, and she's like, "Mama, you're an inspirator. If you can do that, then your boot campers have no excuse." I'm like, "What? You got that big belly right there. If you can do that many burpees, then they have no excuse. You're an inspirator." I was like, "What's an inspirator?" She said, "An inspiration and motivator in one." That's what you're doing. You're inspiring and you're motivating. So, oh, that is phenomenal. But that phrase and the word is, of course, my whole business is based around, but the fact there's so many inspirators in your life in various facets. Yeah. And what's pretty cool is many of us have got inspirators that could be grandparents or parents or other businesswomen that we work with, or other artists that you might know, or people in the wellness and fitness industry. For you, there could be some professional organizers that you've watched the last year, that since you've evolved into the field, that you've watched them carry their systems to help transform so many other people's lives. So who would be some of your key inspirators in career, family, adventure, and fitness?
Well, I think someone close to both of us, to you and I, that my cousin Erica Powell is definitely an inspirator, because I remember when I was thinking I'm going to start my own business, which it's like a blur that I can't believe I did it, but I picked up the phone and called her. And if I didn't have her over the past year, I don't think I'd be here. Like, there's just so many different things that she's really inspired me and motivated me. And, she invited me out to Utah, and that's where I met you. And just so many different things. And I'm so grateful for, to have her, in my life in this capacity now. And my girlfriend, Katie, who's cheered me on from the get-go. Since day one, every day she's like, she's like, "You can do it, you can do anything," and where I'm like, "I can't do it," and so that's been really helpful. I would say in my family, my daughter, my 5-year-old, she just has so much fun and is so creative, and it's one of those, like, when I stop and watch her, it just inspires me to kind of like go have more fun and just really enjoy life, because I can catch myself getting caught up, and so she's really been, an inspirator in that space. Adventure is my husband. He is this world traveler, and just always, I'm such a homebody. Like, I would just sit at home all the time if we could. I'd like, we don't have to go anywhere. And he's always like, let's travel. He just did his 7th continent. He went to Antarctica for his birthday. And so he really,
wow.
So it's good. It's one of those, like, you should be with those ones that really challenge you. And so he challenges me in adventure. We went to like Southeast Asia for our honeymoon. I'd never go there, and then I would say, I think the last one was fitness. And so I would say the women I surround myself with each morning at the gym, they are inspirators, because I'm there and I'm like, oh, I could pick up this really light weight. And then I'm like, oh God, look at that big weight. I'm like, okay, I'll get a bigger weight, or I'll do extra burpees, or I'll get the bigger box jump, and so those women, so a shout out to Burn. What's up, ladies? They definitely motivate me every day to just push harder. I took the time to get up that early, might as well work pretty hard. So
might as well make it count.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. It's also kind of like this whole, the way that you did the perspective though too. And with Erica, it's been fun, because I met Erica when she's in the midst of transitioning businesses as well. And so I've been inspired by her stepping back to then reshift and refocus and really going up, but staying in her own lane.
Absolutely.
And because now she's in her own lane and she's really driving that car, our beautiful car actually, right. But right. But to where she's really fine-tuned and brought everything together. And it's really inspiring, because when we first met, that wasn't the case. She's trying to figure out this transition. So it's been a beautiful friendship, watching her really get so much more into alignment. And I love that she's been helping support you. So it's kind of like this fun train, right?
Absolutely.
But your husband, I love that so he's been to every continent now?
Yeah, he has. So he's a skater, and so he had summers off. So he used to travel all over every summer, and his dream was to go to Antarctica. So I surprised him for his 40th birthday. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is so cool. I grew up traveling a bunch with my parents. They're educators. And so we'd have summers off, but would pop in the car and go. And so it was funny when I was, still a segue story, but when it happened right before I met Jack, perfect timing. But that summer before I met Jack, I was living in Boston, and I was having a fun time dating this lawyer who lived in New Hampshire. And he found out we were having dinner. I was like, yeah, the one state I haven't been to is Maine. He goes, well, let's go have dinner in Maine. And I'm used to California, right? We're West Coast, the states aren't all so close together. And even though I travel on the East Coast, it was so funny. Well, let's go have dinner in Maine. I said, okay, let's go have dinner in Maine. So literally we went to go have dinner in Maine. So when I was 26, I could say I've been to every state, which was pretty fun. And it's kind of funny though, because we meet many people that have been to like all over Europe, but they've only been to say 3 states or that. And it's just kind of interesting. And so I would love to do what your husband is doing by the time, I'm going to say I'm 50 since I'm 42 now. So by the time I'm 50, I want to be on every continent.
And hold you to
that is really,
yeah.
I love that. Tell your husband I'm a fan. I'm in his fan club right now. Like, I think that's so cool.
I love that.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so for you, let's share with what is one place, talking about the travel part, what is one place that you want to travel to then with your own family, like with your kids and your husband? What would be one place that you want to go to? Because I know where we want to go for your 40th birthday. We have that taken care of. But like, where's one place? Where's the place that you want to go to?
Yeah. I would, we talk about all the time, like, where are we going to take the kids? And one place my husband, he used to spend his summers is New Zealand, and I've never been. And so I'd love to go to New Zealand. And so that's one place. And then I studied in Europe, my battery there, in college, and I would love to go to Ireland. That's one place in Europe I've never been, is Ireland. So I think I would really love to do that. So, but I think we might wait for the kids to be a little bit older, and so that they could really appreciate it. So.
Oh, those are, by the way, they're our top 2.
Oh my God.
Just like, so New Zealand, we were supposed to ride our bikes across New Zealand and Australia, and then I found I was pregnant with Mackenzie.
Oh, man.
So that was what we're supposed to be doing. I guess it'd be 15 years ago now, right? Since she's turned 14 today. But that summer, when I found I was pregnant, I was like, why am I so tired? It's because I was 2.5 months pregnant. But we were going to ride our bikes across New Zealand and Australia, because that's one of my biggest dreams. Still to this day, it hasn't happened. So the kids know. So the first international retreat, I don't know if you heard me say this the other day, is going to be in New Zealand, hopefully next year.
Oh my God.
When my youngest will be at least 5, because the airplane ride that long, right? Yeah. But Ireland, my parents are taking the kids to Ireland this summer because they're older. The older 2. Okay. They're taking them to Ireland, London, and Amsterdam for 3 weeks, Mackenzie and Emerson.
Oh, man.
And it's amazing, but they had to pick a capital and do a little study on it, but they all were going to go to Ireland regardless because we're Irish. And so they want to bring them to Dublin and introduce them to some family and things like that. And so I love that the 2 places that you actually said, had no idea, are Ireland and New Zealand. I think we should do some family trips. We've got a built-in babysitter too with Mackenzie. Some family trips. So we're going to go really fun time of it.
Perfect.
That sounds good. Well, on that fun note, you need to go back to work, and I need to be respectful of your time as well as respectful of everybody else. And it is 1:38 right now, so my time. And I just want to say that I thank you so much for making today work. Oh, no. I've got one more quick question. What would be 3 nuggets that you want to share with everybody to how they can just say simplify their entryway, right? The drop all, the be all, because people kind of they drop their keys, their coats, their shoes, the mail comes in. You know what I'm talking about? That area that's kind of, maybe not the entryway, but that one area that's kind of like the mess. What would just be 3 little nuggets?
I would say have everything have a place. Like, everything should have a home. Like, just don't drop it. It should have a home. Like, hang on the wall, whatever it is, have a home. Don't do long-term storage there. A lot of people, like, if they have coats that are out of season, make that just stuff you're using daily. So if you're not wearing it regularly, get it out of that space. Or if it's, an old set of keys or anything like that. So just those things that you're using regularly, make sure all those things have a home. And then this is a little bit harder, but I would say really think about where things are naturally dropping. And so maybe that's where you create the home for it, because often we try to be like, oh, we want you to put it here, but that's not what's naturally happening. And then people don't put it there anyway, and then you're frustrated. So I would say, simplify it to just put those things you're using regularly. Everything should have a home, and try to find a home that really works with the natural flow and behaviors of the space. because it's easier to tweak a system than it is to tweak a behavior. So
completely. That's really smart though. I didn't even think like to where you naturally drop it to do something that way versus recreating where it should go.
Right. Because if it's not natural for that person, because a lot of habits are already formed, they're not end up there, and then you're frustrated, and then you start, that kind of thing. And so really, I tell people, step back and observe, like, where's it naturally, dropping, and can I create a home for it there? Because then it'll make me happy, and they'll put their stuff away. It'll be perfect.
Oh, I love it. That's okay. So you guys got that. You got those nuggets right there. Do that. I would love to see some pictures of your new entryway or wherever it may be that's naturally more organized right now. And then Stephanie, how can people contact you if they want to contact you, and what do you have coming up that they can potentially be part of?
So I would say the best way is to follow me on Facebook, and that's at Life Made Simple at Home. I also have a website, lifemadesimpleathome.com. So either way, that I have an online course right now. We're in beta, and we'll be launching another run of that probably later this year. And then I have a book coming out in the fall. So I would love for you to follow so you can hear about that. And but to get more nuggets and tips and motivation, those kind of things, like the Facebook page is the best place. So
fantastic. And we'll put the links right down below once we're off of here. I'll type in those links down below.
Thank you so much.
Okay, love. We'll go back to organizing that house. They will be so happy to it when they walk in the door. And thank you so very much for spending your afternoon with us. And let's make that trip to Colorado happen very, very
soon. I'll see you this summer.
I know, right? Or in Hawaii. Oh, quick announcement. You guys shared it yesterday that the next Inspirator retreat is in Hawaii on the Big Island, the 27th to the 30th of September. And Stephanie might be there. So you might be able to see her beauty. Maybe she'll organize she'll give us some systems to organize our lives once we're home from the oasis underneath the palm trees. But anyhow, okay, you guys, have a wonderful day. Enjoy. And remember, you are your own Inspirator. Bye, Stephanie.
Bye.
Thank you so very much.